success can be hard to manage. Some valuable lessons that I learned over the years. Don't expect things to change overnight. For you young cats out there that, get an opportunity, or you think, this is a great thing and all my friends are going to be so excited and all that. Don't expect to get some unique reaction from your friends. Don't expect to get the obligatory pat on the back and all that. In some cases, people could be jealous for your success, or just it doesn't resonate with them. 1 minute, the reality is it's tough to go from riding in limousines and flying on jets and playing for thousands of people, and then coming home and having to clean the toilet and take out the trash and go to the grocery store. And those people at home have no idea that you literally had people just, practically bowing down to you and applauding for you and worshiping you. And now you're back at home and you're just the same old schlub. That was a difficult thing to deal with. The first time we got a big opportunity and we're flown out to LA, and, you think people are going to treat you different, and you think, I've done this great thing and all that. And then you maybe go home and play some gigs you still had on the books, and you expect everybody to be, man, right on, bro, and all this kind of stuff. And no, it's just business as usual. Just like if you have somebody waiting at home for you after you've gotten out, and after the cheers of the crowd have gone down, and after the limousine is gone, and after you've come home after a weekend of just, playing, with your head in the clouds. Don't expect anybody at home to get it. Don't expect them to understand what you're feeling. Don't expect a chance to come down from that and have them really have a true understanding of how hard it was, or how fun it was, or any of that. It's one of the hardest things. And I had to learn, why isn't everybody saying, hey man, good job? And, I've had times and have seen people get opportunities and they thought, it was going to be life-changing, and they weren't going to have to, I'm not going to play these gigs anymore. I'm not going to have to do that because I'm going to, I've got a record deal and all that. Don't ever let that change who you are. The reality is, man, you might get a brief ride on that jet called fame, and that jet called fame is gonna have to, come down at some point, and it's going to drop you off, and you're going to be right back where you got on that plane. And all of those people that you worked for before and, helped you, get to that point, they're all going to be there. So you better keep a good relationship with every single one of them. And don't expect a pat on the back when you get home. They might have questions. They may go, hey man, how was it? Or whatever. But then again, they might not. They might be too busy, keeping food on the table and playing their own gigs to even consider it or worry about it. You can't expect anybody to know what you've been through except you yourself. You can't expect anybody to be happy for the opportunities you get but yourself. And you have to learn that. You have to learn to be, accepting and pat, give yourself a little pat on the back. But the reality is, when you get home, you're still going to be taking out the trash. You're still going to be cleaning the sink. You're still going to be, cutting the grass. All of those things that normal people do. Nothing changes when you get a little burst of fame. When you get a few more bucks in your account, man, nothing really changes. The bills keep coming in. You still got to get groceries. You still got to, clean up around the house. It's not anything that happens overnight. And if it happens overnight and you blow up to that extent, man, that is going to be a tough thing, because nothing lasts forever. Fame is fleeting. Money is fleeting. It could all be taken away from you just like that. So I'm here to tell you, if you get, a shot, we sometimes, bum, like me, will sometimes get a shot at the title. And you got to go out there and give it your best. But man, don't expect anybody to be happy for you. Don't expect anybody to pat you on the back. Don't expect your life to just all of a sudden change for the better. It might actually make it worse. Things might actually get harder. You are going to have to work harder when you get success. You are going to be in a grind. You are going to be in the machine, and the machine's wheels are going to spin and spin and spin. And eventually they're going to spin so fast and you're going to get spun out and you're back right where you started before. So don't ever give that, kiss off to somebody. Hey, screw you. I'm out, bro. I'm going to be huge and famous. Maybe you are. And maybe you never have to go back. But I would say you got about a 90% chance that you may come right back and be back having to do the same job or the same gigs or anything else, man. There's no guarantee that you're going to blow up and not have to do the same things. And even if you do blow up, you're going to have a wife or a girlfriend, and she's still going to need you to take out the trash and pick up the dog poop and all these things, man. And if you blow up and you get a lot of money and you get man, with that can become even more problems. You'll start to wonder who you can trust. You'll start to see people clamoring for your attention and needing your time. And, in order to manage the rigors of the road and all the things that to stay there, you're going to work harder than you ever worked in your life. And, it's going to come to a point where that thing that you had to do or you wanted to do for fun, that thing that you love to do, you're going to get out there some nights and go, man, I just don't even feel like playing this music right now. I just don't even know where I am, and I'm exhausted. And those lights go down and that crowd lights up, and boom, they tell you it's showtime, and you run up that stage and boom, and it becomes automatic pilot. There comes a time when you've played the show or you've played the songs and you've played them so many times that it's automatic pilot. Shows go by like this, and unless something absolutely crazy happens, and that's usually something that would happen backstage or before the gig or after the gig, man, those shows start to run together. And there are arenas all over the United States and Canada that I've played, and man, I couldn't tell you probably 5 of them. I've been in towns with my friends and they go, man, you remember playing that arena? And I go, no, I don't remember playing it. And they go, yep, we played there and such happened and all that. It's like Phil Lesh said, it's like the past 30 years for him were one big haze. And I can honestly say that. I remember more about each individual gig, on the Sunset Strip than I remember in all my years touring with country artists. I remember certain things, and I remember some of the wild stuff that happens. Those are the unforgettable moments that are stuck in your brain forever. But most shows where you go out and you do a good job and you play your show and then you come off the stage and you just kind of chill out and try to wind down and then go to sleep, that just becomes one of the many, many shows that go in your brain and out. It's like studying for a test. And you cram and you cram and you cram. And it's like, I had to sing all of these songs on the road. And I don't even know if I could sing one of the choruses right now, the biggest songs that I had to sing. I don't even think I remember the lyrics. Of course, it was 10 years ago. But once I got off the road, man, my brain just downloaded that information off of the brain. Wipe the hard drive and back to playing the things that I had to remember each weekend. But man, don't expect a pat on the back. Don't expect anybody to be happy for you. You've got to learn to be happy within yourself. This is maybe the most valuable lesson that I can tell you because, man, everybody's going to get their 15 minutes of fame. Everybody, whether it's getting an article in the local paper or somebody really cool and, from the music business, hearing you play and saying, man, good job, or a comment on a post online from some celebrity or something. Everybody is going to have that moment. But you know what? The only person who can really, truly appreciate it and be proud of that moment is yourself. And you've got to learn to love yourself, do what's best for you, take care of yourself mentally, physically, all of those things. Because, man, no one is going to make it right for you. And if you get a chance at success, it might not be everything it's cracked up to be. But if you do get a chance to ride in limousines and fly in airplanes and roll down the highway on a tour bus, man, make sure you gaze out that window and see that beautiful countryside as it whirs by. And stop at that truck stop and maybe buy a souvenir or something, because you'll have that when it's all said and done, and it will end. Everything ends. Every gig ends, whether you're on a gig for a few weeks or you're on it for years or decades. It will all end at some point. And it starts to run together. You can't expect anybody to understand what you've been through except the other guys on that bus. And even then, they don't know what you personally went through dealing with your family while you're gone on the road. You don't share that. Oh man, my grandmother, just died, or oh my girlfriend, this is traumatic is going on. Sometimes we talk amongst ourselves, but sometimes it's easier to just kind of bury those things and bury those feelings and just try to keep it positive and just try to keep moving and try to stay on that merry-go-round as long as you can. But make sure you enjoy every single moment of it. Don't expect anybody to be, patting you on the back or giving you any trophies when it's all said and done. All of that's got to come from within. No one's gonna be there, to cheer and do all this. It's got to be tough because everybody thinks, man, if I could just get on tour, if I could just be on a tour bus, if I could just, play on a song on the radio. And I've been on the road and be eating at a cafe and hear a song that I played on the radio. And I thought, man, this is a surreal moment. I'm up here and I was eating lunch by myself. I just, the tour bus was here and there was a little cafe there and I didn't want to eat what was in the venue. I'm sitting there and all of a sudden, boom, something comes on the radio and I hear my guitar and I go, man, this is a surreal moment. This is one of those things we all work for. But don't expect anybody to understand your journey but yourself. You can only be happy in the moment. Don't expect any pats on the back. You might get a few pats on the back, but don't expect the people at home to really get it and to know your struggle and to know what you've been through. You are the only person who knows that. And you're going to have to learn to be happy with yourself. And fame and fortune doesn't always bring you that happiness. Sometimes it brings more problems and can be a very difficult thing to manage. But if you know this going in, if you know not to expect anything from the people back home, if you know to watch out for people that are going to expect something, because there are people that are going to see you doing this and they're going to assume you're making millions of dollars. And man, as a side man, that just does not happen. I don't care if you're playing with Taylor Swift. It might take quite a few years before you've accumulated. Maybe a couple of years, maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years, maybe 10 years. I don't know what those guys make, but there are very few big, huge gigs like that. And you're going to have to do it for many years and survive. And that is not an easy thing. So if you get your big shot and you get out there and you get your opportunity, do the best you can. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your mind, and know that, hey, I'm going to enjoy every moment of this because it could all end tomorrow.